In a quiet little village surrounded by green fields and tall trees, people lived peacefully. There was a beautiful garden in the village. It was filled with colorful flowers, ripe fruits, and rows of fresh vegetables. The garden was a favorite place for the children for playing. Villagers grew their own food in the garden, shared their harvest, and lived happily together. Everyone loved that garden. One afternoon, a small boy ran through the streets, shouting that he had seen a tiger near the garden. People stopped what they were doing and listened to the boy. When the villagers heard this, they became frightened. Within minutes, fear spread through the village like wildfire. Mothers called their children home, men shut the doors, and everyone started talking about tiger. Some said they had heard strange growls before. Others claimed they had seen footprints near the garden. Sometimes, in the fading light of evening, someone would see a moving shadow on the rocks near the garden and whisper that the tiger was still there. From that day onward, no one dared to go near the garden. Even the children stopped playing near it. Everyone warned each other to stay far away from the garden. As time passed, when the villagers started running short of vegetables and fruits, they worried about how they would feed their families. Still, the fear of the tiger stopped them from entering the garden. In that same village lived a little boy named Raja. He had often played in the garden before, and he missed it very much. He listened to the grown-ups talk about the tiger every day. Deep inside, he was also scared about tiger. He was curious by nature. Many times, he thought of going to the garden to play, but fear stopped him to do so. Though he felt afraid, he decided that he would not let fear control him. So he chose to go to the garden. With courage in his heart, he walked slowly toward it. The villagers saw him, and some shouted for him to come back. But he kept going, step by step, through the tall grass. He looked behind the trees, under the bushes, and near the big rocks. Suddenly, something moved behind a rock, and Raja froze. His breath caught in his throat as, for a moment. Then a small head peeked out. It was a tiny, striped face with green eyes. It wasn't a tiger. It was a cat, a harmless village cat, lazily stretching in the sunlight. At that moment, he understood the truth. Everyone had been frightened all this time, not by a real tiger, but by their own imagination. When he returned to the village and shared what he had discovered, the villagers were amazed to hear it. They realized that they had been living in unnecessary fear. They understood that it is always wiser to see things with their own eyes before believing what they hear. From that day on, the garden was no longer a place of fear. The villagers plucked vegetables again. The children started playing there. The villagers thanked the boy for his bravery and learned to trust their own experience instead of rumors. Friends, people often let fear grow inside them when they believe something without seeing or experiencing it themselves. One should always seek direct experience before believing anything. Thank you.